Hi, I'm Paul, and in today's video, we're going to learn how to dramatically improve your Obsidian workflow with dashboards and workspaces. Discover how to quickly access your most important notes, streamline your daily tasks, and create personalized workspaces tailored to your specific needs. If you're an Obsidian user looking to optimize your setup or navigate your vault more efficiently, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you will have actionable insights to help you build better workspaces in Obsidian. Join me as we explore how to make the most out of dashboards and workspaces in Obsidian. Before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to download my free starter kit vault from my Ko-Fi page so you can follow along with the video. I also want to give a special thank you to everyone who has supported me or subscribed to the channel. I'm truly grateful for your support. Understanding dashboards and workspaces. What are dashboards? In Obsidian, a dashboard is a customizable central note or page that serves as a personalized command center for your vault. It acts as a hub for quickly accessing important information, navigating between notes, tracking tasks, and projects. By strategically organizing links, notes, tasks, and visual components, dashboards can dramatically improve your efficiency and productivity within Obsidian. Dashboards have the following key features: centralized access, quickly find and access your most important notes and resources. Enhanced navigation, navigate your vault more efficiently with a clear overview. Task management, keep track of tasks, deadlines, and project progress. Customization, tailor your dashboard to your specific needs and preferences. Visual organization, use visual elements like tables, diagrams, and graphs to represent information. Let's look at the pros of dashboards. Dashboards give you a centralized overview of tasks and information. They're highly customizable and visually flexible. The content is dynamic through community plugins. You get quick access to key areas and resources. They're also adaptable for different contexts and sections. Now we'll look at the cons. Dashboards can become cluttered. They're limited to a single note layout. They require manual updates for static content. You can become less focused on specific tasks. They also need regular maintenance. What are workspaces? In Obsidian, a workspace is a saved configuration of your note-taking environment. It includes the layout of your interface, open files, and various settings, allowing you to quickly switch between different workspaces tailored to specific tasks or projects. Workspaces' key features include efficient workflow to quickly switch between different note-taking setups for various tasks. Customization allows you to create personalized workspaces that match your unique needs and preferences. Time saving allows you to avoid the hassle of manually rearranging your interface for each task. Workspaces can be task-specific environments. You set up custom layouts with multiple panes. You can quickly switch between contexts, maintain your work state, and this reduces cognitive load. It's integrated with Obsidian's core. The cons of workspaces are that it requires initial setup and management. It's limited to layout and open notes. There is potential for overhead with many workspaces. It's less flexible for quick overviews. There's also no cross-workspace integration, which can be annoying for some users. Showcasing the hybrid approach. Dashboards initially attracted me to Notion, and I spent a lot of time crafting my command center that you can see here. I had quick access buttons to get to all sections of my second brain. After some time, I created a second dashboard to have less options to use on a mobile device. This was aesthetically pleasing, but it was time consuming to set up, which led to constant tweaking. My perfectionism was actually distracting me from taking notes. When I first migrated over to Obsidian, I adapted to using a map of content approach. The main concept I started in my Obsidian journey was a homepage. And I started building other maps of content such as explore notes and then linking them back to my homepage. And I was thinking if I had a homepage then this would work as my centralized dashboard. And the first thing I didn't like was that it wasn't as aesthetically pleasing as Notion. I had a whole bunch of text laid out on the page, which I had to write as Markdown and then add links to different sections of my Vault. So I actually found that this dashboard here never got used, and it still doesn't really get used in my Obsidian Vault. The Explore notes was useful to know when I made a note and how many days it existed in my Vault. And I also had easy ways to get to my mind maps, which was a handy index page to have. After some time, I found I wasn't really using a lot of these dashboards until I started creating my bookshelf. Now, my bookshelf was a nice way to organize, sort through all the book notes that I had taken in my second brain. Initially, what attracted me to Obsidian was personal development. So you can see up here, I've got personal development. I've got a whole bunch of content maps inside here, which were dashboards essentially with all the authors on particular personal development subjects such as productivity. Then I had all the books listed, all the action items, and it sort of grew to have a dashboard for each personal development topic, which would be a stepping stone into the books or the authors or the action items. So that worked well for a little while. Then I started to experiment further. So if we jump down into cards, you can see that inside our cards folder, we have our folders. So I created a menu and then I put a whole bunch of MetaBind buttons in here. And then I created a MetaBind embed to import all these buttons. So that was slightly time consuming. If we open up the MetaBind buttons, we can see there they all are. A lot of it was copy and paste. And once it's in my Vault, I don't need to really worry about it again unless I add another folder down the left-hand side here. Then I'd have to manually put in my next button, go create it on the embed. But once it's set up, it's a nice dashboard index page to have to get to cards inside my Vault. But what you can find is your perfectionism will probably kick in and you might think, I don't want these buttons to be one after the other. I want them to be spread across the page, or I want this whole menu to center a line with this little line here to match the width of the buttons. Or I don't want it to be collapsible. I want it to be open. Or so you can sort of see that your mind will start picking on things that it doesn't like. And you can quite easily just spend a lot of time just trying to perfect your dashboard. So if I jump down into spaces, you can see I've just replicated the same as cards, and I've kept it quite minimalist where I have a menu and then I have a whole bunch of buttons in there, which are static that I had to go set up. And once again, if I add another section, then I have to add it in here. I did recently make a system engineer wiki, which is also another custom dashboard. And I've got a search field here with some results. And my dashboard, if you haven't seen this video, go check it out. So if I wanted to get to my system engineer wiki, I can navigate to it here, click it here. I could also go Control-O, type in system engineer wiki and get to it that way. So let's just say today I'm working on this note. And then I think I want to go to my system engineer wiki, but I want to come back to this note because it's my focus for today. So I'm going to get distracted and go over here. And now I've lost my note that I was working on. If I go back, but then this is distracting away from this here. I'm not really concerned with working in my system engineer wiki with this note on the left-hand side. So this is where Workspaces comes into the picture. And this is the hybrid approach that I use now. So what I do is I have a plugin installed called Commander. And then on my status bar, I have a couple of quick commands such as Workspaces manage workspace layouts and Workspaces save layout. And those live down here. So I've got my manage workspace layouts, and then I've got my save workspace layout. And I've also got that same load workspace layout up here. And I've also got one over here. So I've got 3 places to access it. But what I tend to do is if I say, look, I just want to start fresh right now, I load Manage Workspaces and I load my minimal workspace. My minimal workspace is just my left and my right pane and nothing in the middle. So this is when I just want to clear my head and I just want to let my mind decide where to go next. I might want to go back to my focus. So I've got one for my focus. I can load my focus. My focus at the moment is this video, Dashboards versus Workspaces. So I can see here I've got my Excalidraw drawings from the video, and this is my focus at the moment. So if I get distracted and say I want to go watch YouTube and take a note on a YouTube video, then I can jump into my YouTube vault, which is just down here under YouTube. So if I go back to where I was on my focus, and then I want to go to YouTube, then I have to go open here, and then I've got to go find it there. Now I've lost my focus. So it's much easier to just open the workspace and go load my focus. And then I can jump back to my YouTube vault and I can add a new YouTube video note here and I can start taking notes on it if I would like to learn something from YouTube. But if I was going to add a note, I'd probably use the quick add command, hit the new YouTube note, and then start creating my learning note. And that my learning note would be already organized in my YouTube folder. But if I don't jump back to my YouTube vault and I wanted to look at my in progress, then there it is ready to go. So you want to create a system that gets to the same place, and you want to almost have like 3 ways of getting there, because that's going to give you more opportunity to actually do what you need to do. And if I want to go back to my focus, which is making this video, I can jump back to my focus and I can go back to YouTube again. So it's quite nice to have a dashboard combined with a workspace so I can jump between areas. Say I wanted to adjust my YouTube template before I create a new video, I could just jump into my template directory. I could go find my YouTube video template. I could open the template and I could make a change to it if there was something that I need to make a change to. And then I can just jump back into my YouTube vault and keep going. If I found that I wasn't happy with these buttons here and I needed to fix them, I could jump into my MetaBind embeds and I could make changes to those buttons by opening them up here and making a change. I could say, I feel like drawing today, so I'm just going to go load up my Excalidraw drawings, and I might just go, well, here's the one that I've created for this video, so I might want to continue working in there. But remember, that's my focus, so I can always jump back down into my focus, and now I'm back into my drawing. So this is quite useful to have, and this is how I would recommend setting it up. So if your focus changed from this to something else now, so say you closed this file and then you opened up this random file here, tags and search, and you were making a change on here, and you said, well, this is my focus, so I want to update this note and make changes to it now. So all you need to do is open your workspace. Because it's already active on your focus, you can just hit save. And then if I go back to my minimal and I say, I want to go back to my focus now, I can go back to my focus, and then it's going to go back to the last position that I set for my focus for the day. By taking the hybrid approach, you'll find the method that works best for you. You also don't have to settle for always doing it the same way. How to set up your hybrid workspace. Let's jump into Obsidian and start setting up our hybrid workspace. Navigate down to your settings, go up to your core plugins, scroll all the way down to the bottom and enable workspaces. This is going to allow us to save and load workspace layouts. The next step is to navigate to community plugins, navigate to browse, and we want to install our community plugins, install Dataview. The next plugin is going to be Commander. This is going to allow us to place little shortcuts for our workspace on our status bar. The next plugin is called MetaBind. You can use this plugin to create buttons on your dashboard. Next plugin is called Quick Add. This one's going to allow us to quickly create a template, sort it into the correct folder within your Vault. And the last community plugin is called Templater, and this one's just going to allow you to create some nice templates and automate some of the fields inside that template. So once you have all your community plugins installed, select your first one, Commander, navigate to the status bar, hit Add Command, type in Workspace and add the first one, which is Save Layout. The next one's going to be Manage Workspaces. So just type in Workspaces again, type Manage Workspace Layouts. So now we have our two shortcuts down the bottom right-hand side, and you can put these up in other locations if you like. If you're not sure where these locations are, check out my video, How to Customize the Obsidian Interface. And that talks about where all these locations are located. An additional step to take is to go into your hotkeys, type in Workspaces and set a hotkey for loading workspaces. I like to use the load workspace layout, and we'll just use Alt Z because that's quite easy to get to with your fingers. So now we're set up for loading our workspaces. Let's go create our first workspace. So we can come down and select our Manage Workspace Layouts. It's going to ask us what we want to call this current layout. So this one could be your minimal layout or your clear workspace. You can name it whatever you would like. Hit save. Now we have our default layout. If you want to add your calendar down here and you also want this to be a little wider, or if you want it closed and you want this closed and you want that to be your minimal workspace, then just hit the save button. And now that's going to save us our minimal workspace. So let's create our second workspace. We'll just open up the left pane. This one's going to be to display our spaces dashboard. So we'll just manage and we're going to call this one spaces, hit save. Now we have our spaces and we can test that that works by going to our manage workspace layouts, going back to our minimal, or we could use our keyboard shortcut, which is Alt Z, and go back to our spaces. So now we might want to have one to look into our Vault. So we can add our Vault in there. We hit save. Now we have our Vault, our spaces. We could do another one for our toolkit if we would like. And then we might want to have actually one coming into our templates here. So let's go set up one for our templates. We'll hit save on that one. So now we have quick access into spaces, Vault, and our templates. So you get the idea. We'll just jump over to the Note Lab and we're going to create a workspace for our Note Lab. So now we have one for the Note Lab. We'll do the rest as well. So we'll do cards. Now we have minimal, spaces, Vault, templates, Note Lab, and cards. We just don't have one for our journal. So we'll add one for our journal as well. So we have a few spaces now that we can choose from. And if we want to get to them quickly, we can Alt Z and we can load from there. We can jump into our Note Lab. So our dashboard's just going to be a basic Dataview query with a link back to our map of content, or in this case, about Note Lab. So you can just put a basic Dataview query in there. If you want to build more complex dashboards from there, so say you were in Spaces and you wanted to build a couple of buttons into here, then you can just come into here, right click, go MetaBind button, and then we're going to go look and do our first folder, which is distilled notes. We'll keep it pretty standard. This goes distilled. We're going to open distilled notes. We're not going to hide the button, we'll just leave it visible. Now we have a button to our distilled notes, and we can quite easily put a back button there as well to go back, and then create a dashboard to work with our workspace layout. So we have our distilled notes button. So we'll just go back into source mode, create our next button, copy and paste. This one might be our learning. Call this one learning. Just change the label and the ID as well. We can preview that. Now we have our two buttons. And this is where your OCD perfectionism will kick in. You'll see they're overlapping. You might not want this about spaces to be here. So you can quite easily put in a call out. Could call this one menu. put an inline button in there. So just put in button. We'll just add our distilled. Just copy that one. And then we'll put in our learning. So now we still have that overlap. Even just make them on the same line there. That looks a little bit better. So then we don't want these to be here anymore. So we want to hide those. And then they're also taking up room here. So what we would be better off doing is moving them to an embed. So we can copy those, come down to our toolkit, add a folder in our snippets called meta-bind embeds. Go back to spaces here, tabs, stack tabs here. And then we're going to go paste our buttons here into here. So now we have our two buttons. We'll call this meta-bind embeds spaces buttons. So we know what they are. And then we're just going to take that there, take this out, put in meta-bind embed. And then we just need to tell it which embed to put in there. So there's our embed there, referencing over here. We can preview that. We still have our two buttons, and we have our reference embed here, which we can update at any time. That looks a lot better. So now we have a quick two buttons to get into these two sections here. And then if we go back to one of our other workspaces, so let's go back to the minimal, and then we want to go back to spaces again, and our two buttons are there. So you can see how you can quite easily create a minimal dashboard with workspaces to create your hybrid setup. So now we have our two buttons added on our dashboard. What we want to do is we want to add a quick add command to insert a new note into our learning folder here. So to do that, we're going to utilize quick add. So navigate back down to your settings, go click on the quick add, type in new learning note. It's going to be a template, and we click on the cogwheel. We're going to use our learning template here. We're going to create it in this folder here, spaces learning. So we want to put in spaces, should autocomplete to learning, hit add, and then we want to open it once it's created. Now we have our new learning note. The next step is going to be to place it down here. So we can either click the little plus here and then type in quick add, run quick add. It's going to ask us what icon we want to use. I usually use the file plus, but you can use anything you would like. Hit save. So now we have a little command. So let's go test that. Hit quick add, new learning note, spaces learning. What's the learning note? Test, new learning note. Now we have our new learning note. Let's go see if it's in the right folder. Yes, it is. And it's grabbed our learning template. So what we can do, because this is our focus, we can open our workspace layout. We can make this our focus. So hit save. Now we just want to go check that our template is correct. So we can go manage workspaces, go to template, go down to our learning template. There it is there. Yep, that all looks good. Let's go back to our focus and continue on with our learning note. I hope this video showed you how dashboards and workspaces can enhance your Obsidian experience. Which do you prefer, or do you use both? If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with others who might benefit. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for more Obsidian tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.